Talofa American Samoa. Welcome back to the Pacific Talk podcast, the Self-Advocate series. My name is Katrina Helsham, the Pacific Center in Human Security Communications Manager. Thank you for joining us on this episode. It's a continuation from the previous episode with Savanah Samaseia. She is a Nafanua Leadership Fellow with the Nafanua Foundation. She came to American Samoa to present her project at the American Samoa Department of Health's Leo O'Ainga program. She shared about her experience and why she chose that project and that platform of disability awareness, specifically in autism. In that episode, she shares about her own diagnosis, having ADHD, and as well as learning disabilities, highlighting why this platform she chose was very personal and dear to her. Great insights from her, and thank you again for joining us as we continue the conversation, what she has to say, and the episode starts now. Okay, Savanah, so we're making good time here. We can chat a little bit more about your experiences, but I do, before we get more in depth about your experiences and, just navigating life, let's, for our audience, if you could go into detail explaining what ADHD is and maybe autism, since that was the specific platform you chose.
Mm-hmm. So ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So it's a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by persistent difficulties with inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. And there's different ways that it manifests in boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, so usually what most people know ADHD by is that, you just can't pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
or you have trouble, or you get distracted often, which that is two big factors with having ADHD. For example, I was in school and it was really hard for me to pay attention to the teacher. It wasn't that I wasn't listening, I was, but my brain wasn't processing the information fast enough.
Okay.
And then I would also, again, being distracted was one of the main things as a child that was difficult for me to overcome. Even so now I get distracted, but as a child it's a lot worse because you're still even learning how to grow your learn life skills and learn how to interact with the world. So for me, being distracted as a little kid, it was a lot difficult trying to focus, because even kids without ADHD, you have trouble. You're just kids. You have interests that lie elsewhere other than school and all that stuff. And there's also how actually come to find out that once I got diagnosed, my parents were tested as well, and
Mm-hmm.
come to find out that they also had ADHD.
Wow.
What I've noticed too in Samoan community and Polynesian or Pacific Islander community too is that there's like thousands of us that have ADHD. It's not a rare disorder at all.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it's prevalent in our Pacific Islander community, and even some of my little cousins or family members who are not diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
I can take one look at them and I'm like, oh yeah, you have ADHD. I'm not a doctor and I can't officially diagnose you, but I'm like, oh no, you have it. I know the signs.
Uh-huh.
I know I've had interactions with family members who, I have a little boy cousin he's very, very energetic, very hyper. He's bouncing off the walls,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets very aggressive when, something, he doesn't like something, and he has a lot of aggression. And my auntie was telling me, she goes, we think he has ADHD, but, I don't know. Well, it's just, we think he does, but, it's whatever. And I was like, no, auntie, he most definitely does.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, how do you know? And I go, because I have ADHD. She goes, what? And the way her head flipped over, and she's like, you have ADHD? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, you don't look like you have ADHD. And I go, well, there's not a certain look to it. It's like, it's an internal thing. And she's like, well, you don't look like it. You're not bouncing off the walls. You're not, this. And I go, oh, yeah, but it comes out differently with the individual. So for me, it came out impulsivity. So it was whenever I would speak, I'd blurt out the first thing that came to mind, whether good or bad. Like, it, some people would call it no filters. Like, I would just say the first thing that came to mind and then pay for the consequences later. But usually with boys, they're intended to be more physically hyper. So that usually, but then, it's also kind of hard as well, because a lot of the symptoms of ADHD can maybe fly under the radar. You can probably cross it off as like, oh, they're just being boys, or oh, she's just saying that, like, they're just kids, but I definitely would, even if you have an inkling or think like, like they're maybe a little more energetic than, how a kid usually be, or, or like, oh, why does she keep talking and why does she keep saying these things, like she has no filter, like just any little inkling you have, like, oh, I think my kid might have, like, maybe have something, I would get them tested just to officially know, so yeah, different, I've gotten that a lot, where even like, oh, you don't look like you have it. I'm like, I don't have to look like I have it. It's, if I have it, I have it. And on my parents, even it was shocking for my parents to get diagnosed. Even for my mother, to share a little bit about her experience, she would tell me, because, she grew up in the 80s. So, she's born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. She's 52 now, I think. And she told me that growing up, everyone thought I was stupid. Like, wow. My entire family, they all thought I was dumb. They always be like, oh, like, always said that I was in La La Land. She's like, even my teachers, like, I've been called stupid by my teachers. They thought that I was very slow, and retarded was the word, back in the day that people used. She's like, they would all call me retarded, and she's like, I didn't understand it. I didn't, and back then ADHD wasn't like it, they didn't know about it, right. And then it's also hard, because if you don't know, you don't know. And like, what else do you call it? But once they started doing studies about it, then it actually became a diagnosis, and then there was more studies about it. So even in my childhood, I was born in 2001. So even growing up, when we found out my diagnosis and things like that, there were still programs that they were still trying to figure out how to work with kids with ADHD. They were still even learning how how we develop, or what makes us tick, so to speak, or what calms us, type thing. Because and even as a kid, I would have I'd breakdowns, like full on breakdowns in class, because I couldn't get it. And even my mom, she would tell me, that it was hard for her as a mother to watch your child suffer and not knowing how to help, and then even seeking professional help. She's just like, it was just so hard. And luckily, as I grew up, by the time I got into high school, I feel like ADHD became more accepted into the world, became more like, people were more educated on it, and people knew the terminology for it, and whether it's neurodivergent for the terminology, things like that. So even now, like this year, there's been a lot of advocacy for ADHD that I've seen, especially with TikTok and social media. I've seen a lot of people with ADHD step forward and be like, hey, I have ADHD, this is my experience. And it's cool. And then I would read the comments, and even just these not everything you see on TikTok is right, but there's some people that they share their experience, and I go, oh my gosh, like, I experienced that too. Like, I wasn't the only one. And so even people in the comments are going, oh my gosh, I think I have ADHD there, and I've had adults, like grown adults, whether in their 50s or their 40s, 30s, they just go, oh my gosh, like, I just hearing your story, I think I have ADHD. They go, because I had trouble in school, or I had trouble with my peers, and I couldn't process anything that way. They go, oh my gosh, and would inspire them to then seek for themselves the research or maybe
Right.
diagnosis. I don't know if anyone ever got was like, I'm gonna go get diagnosed, but I know they just bringing my story out and speaking so freely and casually about it, people are like, oh shoot, like I think I have it, or I think my kid has it.
Right.
That it gives you something to discuss and think about,
Right.
which is what I love. Also, for you asked about autism.
Yes. Before you go to talk about autism, I remember at brunch you were talking about something about masking, which was more like...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because you talked a little bit about boys, but girls do a little bit more of the masking, you said? Or?
Yes. So actually, let me Google that right now so that I'm not entirely wrong. Because during my during the Nafanua program, when I was researching more about my topic, because I even found things about myself that I was like, oh, I think I do that. One of the things that, like just you said, was masking. So what is masking? So masking is the act of concealing or suppressing aspects of oneself to fit in with the social norms or avoid potential discrimination. So pretty much in like simpler terms, it's just copying what normal people do so that you wouldn't be an outcast or that you wouldn't be frowned upon because you're doing stuff that's different. So, and it's not just an ADHD thing, even with autism. So my mentor, Lily, who's absolutely amazing. I miss her so much. So shout out to Lily. She taught me everything. Because she also has a son with autism, Tupo, my best friend. And she had mentioned how she wanted to, when we were working on this project together, that she wanted to also at least teach or educate from what we know, to the families here of like, hey, girls can have autism too, but even if they don't look like they have it, a lot of it could be the masking of it. So what, from the research that I had found, I can't specifically express the numbers at this moment, but during my research I saw that when I was doing specifically for autism, that women or girls tend to mask more than the boys. So they tend to and I think it's also like an emotional depth of it too, where they just sense some things off, and so they'll just watch others and they'll react in the same way and copy what they do. I feel like sometimes, again, this is not professional like education at all. So this is just from what I've seen. Because when she taught me about masking, I would look at some of the girls that I know, whether it was with autism or with ADHD, and like I just kind of look at them and I go, oh yeah, like I remember you used to do this thing, but now you don't do that anymore, and you seem a lot more quote unquote normal than what you once were before, if that makes sense. Like it was just interesting to see. And then when I found out that it wasn't just an autism thing, it was a ADHD, like I think it was neurodivergent people too that do it, and I realized, oh my gosh, I think I do. I think I have been masking my, like, as I grew older, because as a kid, I mean, you can even ask my parents like that. I would just, oh man, I was very hyper. I was very like, talk too much. That I was known to talk too much and blurt out and just always like, yeah, okay, do this, okay, do that, and all kinds of things. And as I grew older, I think I mentioned earlier, just I would watch how people would react to me and then change that. And I think usually that's normal, but when I looked at what masking, the definition of it was, and I go, I think I've had some thoughts even too when I was younger of like, oh, that's not normal, like, oh, I can't do that because that's not normal. And then slowly change or transition out of whatever tick I was doing. And yeah, it was just, and it was crazy to see, and even doing the research and saying that girls do it, or girls are known to do it more than boys. I'm just like, man, that makes so much sense, and when it comes to when people would tell me like, you don't look like you have ADHD, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe because I'm masking. Maybe because I've been masking it, and then I've had to, but during the masking, I guess I've learned to like that, like live how other people live.
Right.
again, I wasn't officially diagnosed with masking.
Okay.
Like, but it's just something that I had researched, and I thought to myself, I go, man, I think I have subconsciously been masking since I guess I've entered my little like high school type or middle schoolish age, like when you're a teenager, like 12 years old or something, and growing, and you're out more with peers, and you're out with other teenagers, and there's things that's cool and not cool. And I think you always want to do something that's cool because you always want to be where where the cool kids are, and do all the fun stuff and things like that. And so I believe that I'm like, man, I really think I was masking, because there's times where I'm trying to think of a specific time, because I know that there's times there's times where I just would say these things that like, it's one of those things where you would just, like, if you're with your friend, and then I'd say things like, ah, and then they'd look at you like, like wasn't funny, or like, oh, that's a little weird. Like, why would you say that? And I'd be like, oh, like, I thought everyone thought like that. And I thought everyone understood what I was trying to say. And little things like that, I think, was just like, oh, that's not normal. I need to not say things like that around these people, and things like that. So hopefully that explains masking, and how answers your questions and maybe hopefully examples that make sense.
No, those are great. I do want to circle back to a term that you used, neurodivergent.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you could explain a little bit too?
So it refers to a natural variation in how the human brain functions, where a person's brain processes, learns, and or behaves differently from what is considered typical. Yeah, so honestly, in simpler terms of how I understand it, because again, this is where the ADHD and learning disabilities come in for me, is that even big definitions, I can't get it, so I'll have to reword it in a way I understand. So that's what was taking me so long, is because I read that definition, I go, I don't understand that. And so I was looking for a more simpler definition. So there's this simpler. So what I found the way that I can understand it is that being neurodivergent means having a brain that works differently from the average or neurotypical person. So neurotypical is meaning like you're a normal person, like what other normal people do. That neurodivergent is what everyone would consider like being different.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
That
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so like someone with ADHD.
ADHD, autism, dyslexia, OCD, like it's a broad spectrum. It's not just one single disability or disorder or whatever.
Right.
It's a broad spectrum again. And then the typical is just everyone who doesn't have all those things, who doesn't have those struggles and all those things like that. So even I think I mentioned earlier, or I've mentioned before during the podcast, is that my mother always explained to me that our brains just work differently.
Right.
Because I remember even as a kid, I'm like, what is ADHD?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't even know. Like, my friend asked me that, but I don't know. And Mom was like, you just tell them. I'm like, your brain just works differently than how their brain works. Right. It's not bad. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing. It's just you learn differently. You process information differently. And that's it. Your brain's just wired differently. And so I love that she said that, because it was in a way that I can understand, instead of giving me some, like, I don't know, scientific definition where it's like, this means this. Yeah,
like the first thing that pops up when you search it up on Google.
Even I'm like, as soon as I read that, I go, okay, I don't know about anyone else, but I did not understand that. I was like, I need to take a moment to figure out what I understand. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's just being neurodivergent. It's been a blessing. Mm-hmm. Definitely difficult. Yeah. Like, never, and let me tell you now, it's never going to be easy. And you're always learning. Even still now at 23 years old and forever, I'm always going to still be learning. Even my mom at 52, I think, in her 50s, she's still learning things that she never learned when she was younger, or she's even discovering more things about ADHD. She's like, I didn't even know that. Or she goes, oh, I do that. I didn't know that was a part of it too, you know?
Right.
Or even she's still, even with oversharing, we kind of talked about off the mic how I was afraid that I was going to be oversharing during the podcast. But that's one of the things my mom and I share in common is we just tend to overshare because we just love connecting with people. We love talking. We love having deep conversations. But sometimes we get distracted and then tend to overshare more than what we wanted to share.
Well, like I said before, everything that you're sharing is just so great. And but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about you had mentioned about your experience because you had run for Miss Tausala Samoa.
America, yeah.
Miss, oh, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. That was something that you were sharing about your mom and just the whole experience with you two going through that. If you could just go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So the Nafanua Foundation actually has two programs. They have the Nafanua Leadership Program and the Miss Tausala America pageant. So this is the second year they had run the Miss Tausala America pageant. And the first year they've done the Nafanua Leadership Program.
Okay.
I joined the Nafanua Leadership Program first, and then as time went on and they wanted signups for the pageant, my mom had told me, she goes, I think you should do the pageant. And I go, no. I was like, I don't want to do it. And she's just like, no, you can do it. I just know you can. Like, I know, like, you've never, because I have no experience with pageants, never done it. It was my first time. And that's something that I never, it's something that I'm not interested in and that I never really considered that I could do. I was just like, you're just strutting on stage and, it's just a beauty pageant. Like, it's whatever. And my mom was really pushing me. She's just like, get out of your comfort zone, because when you're uncomfortable, that's where you learn and that's where you grow. And I'm like, okay.
Them right there.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. And so that's originally why I joined, was because my mom made me. She encouraged me a lot to join. And so since I was already a part of the leadership program, I just told my leaders, I go, oh, can I sign up for the pageant? They're like, oh, of course. I actually, fun fact, had signed up the first year. They'd done it in 2024. But unfortunately, I was in New Zealand, and so I missed it. And then came back, and they were actually... before my mom even had said anything, they were actually messaging me to join again. They're like, please sign up. So anyways, fast forward, I signed up, do the program. It was 3 of us, so 3 contestants. I was contestant number 1, and contestant number 2 was Malia Loleha Foka, and then contestant number 3 was Nu'ule Toi, who won the pageant, who is Miss Tausala America 2025. I absolutely love those girls. It was that pageant, because even people here, what I've noticed, that even American Samoa would talk about just pageants in general, just even in the States, like the pageant world could be very toxic and there's so much drama, and it kind of loses what it stands for, where it's sisterhood and leadership and making connections and networking and, all those wonderful things, and having a platform to build your voice or to advocate and use your voice, and have that type of attention. So when Miss Tausala America came around and it was just us 3 contestants, I was completely blessed that it was those 2 girls. I love those girls to death. And thankfully they both are actually participating in MASI. They're in the program together. But sorry, circling back, this is where my ADHD comes in, and I've been distracted. Circling back to your question, I had joined, and I believe I only had maybe like a month to prepare, maybe a little less than a month, because I kind of signed up last minute. And let me tell you, it was go time from there. My parents, even my dad, so once I signed up, my dad... I picked up my dad from work, and I go, oh, Dad, I signed up for the pageant. And he goes, are you actually going to do it? And I go, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he goes, okay, fine, don't have to do it, but if you're going to do it, just do it all the way. And I'm like, of course I will. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And I believe that even my parents thought it might have been too much of a challenge for me. Even though my mom encouraged it, I think that afterwards, after doing the whole thing, they had told me, they go, okay, I think we kind of doubted you a little bit, like, because we just didn't know that you were capable of doing it. So my experience during it, I had flourished into something that they had never seen before. I was doing things that I've never thought I would do, not just because of my ADHD, but just for myself in general. I'm like, I'm not gonna strut on stage and have everyone watching, you know, I'm not gonna, I don't know, and the makeup and, you know, doing hair, like, it's just stressful. But during my time, I learned, I really just put myself out there. We were doing interviews, we were doing radio shows, we were getting filmed and being put on the spot. We had to come up with, you know, an intro, or come up with we're here today doing this, this, and this, and, you know, we're so excited, and, you know, just the typical pageant stuff. But it really is such a challenge. It really is a lot of work, and I commend those who are any beauty queens or pageant contestants who are now and in the past, because it's hard to put yourself out there in front of the world and get criticized, and to, you know, have your every move watched. So when I was doing that, working with my mother helped me a lot. I had to create, we had the pre-pageant interview, so I had to create, you know, my speech to give to the judges. I had to, you know, create my intros. I had to get my pulatasi organized. I had to get that made. I had to get the measurements, and then I had to get this, and that. And so even one of the things with my disability of ADHD, time management and organization is a really hard thing for me. So being on time to anything, it's really hard for me to be on time. It's like, I can do it, I totally can, but in my head, I always think I have more time than I do.
Right.
Or it's hard for me to organize, like, okay, this needs to be done at this time, and then that needs to be done at that time. What am I doing in between? Like, how am I going to get there? It's hard for my brain to organize it. Even with physical organization, my organization is different from everyone else's organization. Like, mine is like, my room is destroyed, I have clothes everywhere, but in my head it's organized because I know where every exact thing is, where to find it. Well, you know, when my my mom walks in the room, you need to clean this up, this is so dirty, you know, it's so messy, oh my gosh. And even at my age, like, even my room is, I think I left it messy coming here. When I was telling my mom, I'm like, it just makes sense to me, like, you know, I know it, like, trust me, I know it's dirty, but it just makes sense. You know, it's things like that. So even for pageant, during the pageant month/week, I really, like, nailed it. Like, I knew, I really pushed myself to the limits. I really pushed myself to be on time, to push myself to organize, and to be like, okay, even to help organize my own schedule. And even I would tell my parents, I'm like, I need this done today, I need to do this, I need to do that, you need to take me at this time, you know, this and that. And my parents are like, okay, got it, like, that's good. I'm like, and if I didn't understand something, I would ask my mom. I'm like, Mom, I can't figure this out, what you know. And she'd be like, okay, like, let's look at it. Let's look at it, figure it out. And so, you know, I'm so glad that they were there to help. Even my dad sometimes, you know, even though my dad doesn't really know, you know, pageant stuff, he's just, you know, driving us or going to the floor. I'm like, Dad, I was like, Dad, I need to buy these snacks for pageant week, or I need this cooler clean. Can you please clean it? And just, like, letting my parents, like, just communicating. Communication was a huge thing as well, because usually I tend to keep everything inside with, like, my ADHD. It's just, I can do it, and I can't do it. But I really learned how to communicate, how to organize, how to be on time, how to be confident, how to I had to learn all these new skills, how to walk, how to pose, how to be on. And so it was such a wonderful experience. And so to have it, it was a lot of work. And then to have it come together the day of the pageant,
Right.
My parents were just so proud of me. Like, they were crying the whole time. And to see them, I could kind of see them in the audience, but, you know, they're cheering, and they're like, yeah, you know, not just because they're proud because I'm their daughter, but because that they never thought that I'd be able to do something like that with my disabilities. Afterwards, after the pageant, we were talking. Me and my parents had a good, nice, deep conversation about it. And my mom just sat there and looked at me. She goes, "You have no idea how proud I am of you." She goes, "I didn't know that you can do all these things." And she's like, "I think that I've been limiting you because I didn't think you could do it. I didn't think you were capable of understanding or knowing how to do stuff like this." She's like, "You've grown so much the last few weeks." That she's like, even for myself, she's like, if I couldn't do those things at your age, and she's like, I didn't know how to, and no one was there to teach me or to support me and to help me. So she's like, when I was watching you throughout the entire week, I realized that you can do a lot more than I thought you could, and that you're capable of doing it independently, and that yes, I was here to support you when you needed it, but everything else was just you. Like, you did it on your own, and I was just there to help you if you needed it, which wasn't very often. But she goes, just seeing you taking the lead in, your work and even helping others, she's just like, she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm sorry that I was holding you back and that I doubted you, pretty much. And, of course, you're all crying and, and she's just like, now that I know, like, you can do all these things, I'm going to try to learn how to not limit you, that was really big, for a parent to really take accountability, to really be like, oh, it was my mistake. Like, I was keeping you down. I was limiting you to the expectation that I had of you because I didn't think you could do it. So, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm crying, and even my dad, because my dad has his struggles too, but even he too was just saying how proud he was, and that he too was like, yeah, I didn't know you can do all that. He's like, I didn't know you can. He was like, just the way you took lead, you told us what to do and we did it and followed through, or if you said you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. And and trust me, there was times in the pageant where I suffered, where I couldn't figure it out and I couldn't do it, and the last minute I had to figure it out. But that's the whole point, is that you always learn. We're here to learn and experience, so that way next time we can do better. But it just meant so much that my parents could see me thrive with my disability, and to be able to get on stage and to advocate again for that, to be so open and vulnerable. I don't know if I'd count it as vulnerability. I guess technically it is, but to me, I was like, it's not really a vulnerable spot for me, because for me, I just went like, it is what it is. Like, I just have ADHD, deal with it. Like, right. It's not. It's definitely a perspective shift. Yeah. It's how you look at it. Are you going to look at it as a debilitating disability, as in it's going to keep you down, or are you going to accept it and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I have, but I'm going to take action and make sure and prove everyone wrong, or to prove to myself that this is not going to keep me down. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know, and if I don't know, I'm going to learn it. If I still can't, move on to the next one and maybe come back later, to it. And it was an amazing experience for the pageant. And because of that, even I myself was like, I didn't know I can do that. I didn't know I could, like, organize. I didn't know I can lead. I didn't know if I could, do all this stuff. And because of that, I love pageants now. Actually, I think they're really fun, but I think my experience is a little different from, other Tamaita Samoa. But I'm grateful that was my first experience, and to be with Malialole and Nu'u, because those girls are so amazing. I absolutely love them, and for us to experience it, because now we grew so close. We're pageant sisters for life. Yeah. And helping each other. Even here now, I'm just blessed to be here with her, because we're here to also support each other and support her. So she's been coming to our projects, and we've been trying to come whenever we can to all her masi appointments and things like that. And even the other day for the parade, we were able to go on with her. And I know she was like, oh, thank goodness. She's like, thankfully you guys are here. And, I'm over here like trying to fix her dress. I'm like, like, no, you got to look good. You got to look good. And I think it just even helps a lot. And even my parents are proud. They're like, because also, by the way, I got first runner-up. So so it was Nu'u who won the crown. I was first runner-up, and Maliolole was second runner-up. And of course, like when people see, those who don't win the crown, it's a little like sad, or they're just like, they don't know how to interact with you.
Right.
Things like, I don't know if people see. If you guys want to go check it out, you can go check out the Miss Tausala America 2025 page. But I was over there hopping and dancing for her, like behind the thing. I was like, yeah, no, like you go, girl. Like I was just so proud. Even Maliolole, I was like, girl, you did it. Like we're here. Like we did it. And it could have gone the other way completely. But thankfully that we had built a bond, a sisterhood, and we're able to surpass those, toxic mindsets and things like that. And so even being here now and watching her flourish, and also being close with her parents and her families, like all our families got close too. And it was just such a wonderful experience. And I'm so glad that I could see her thrive and succeed. And it's really given me an opportunity to introduce my topic there to Tausala America, and then to come here and to represent the Nafanua Fellows. It's been such an opportunity because I've grown my platform from both programs, to have had both of those different experiences, and to build those bridges, and to use those connections that I've made from both sides, and to grow it into something bigger and hopefully more beautiful. So I've been grateful for both programs. Now that I'm here, I've got to meet you and Heather and Ipu and all those wonderful people. And so it really just, these programs have really transformed and changed my lives. Even my parents were, the moment I signed up for the pageant in Nafanua, they're like, your life is going to change.
Right.
Like, this is, like, they literally, word for word, verbatim, had said, your life is going to change. And, well, trust me, like, and we all doubted it, too. I'm not going to lie, we all doubted for a moment, like, oh, man, like, are we really going to make it? But we beat the odds. We're here. God provided a way. And I have been so entirely grateful, and now I really want to use my voice and my platform to build off it, and to really help our communities, and to help those families with either disabilities or have family members with disabilities, just to really uplift them, and to break the I don't know if it would be the traditional way of thinking, or just to break those society norms that are kind of toxic, to the communities. So I really hope to be able to do that, and to come back and to bridge all these gaps, and to uplift our communities. I know I keep saying uplift, but that's really the perfect word for it. Is just to encourage and to uplift. And my heart goes out to all our people, and I know I may not look like it, but my heart is of Samoa, and I just love to serve my family, my villages, and everyone here on island.
That's so great. Thank you again for sharing. And I think this is a perfect way to end our little extra our podcast 2.0. And but yeah, thank you so much for joining me, talking more about your story. You really were pulling my heartstrings earlier with your stories, but this one really, like, the tears came out. But yeah, thank you again. And then to the audience that are listening, thank you for joining us. Listening to Savanah, listening to just everything that she's got to share. And we just hope that you yourself listening take action. And Savanah has something else to say. Go ahead.
So just real quick, because I'm going to plug it in since we're here. If you guys see me on the streets or anything, you guys are more than welcome to come up to me, ask me about anything, the stories. I'm a very open book, so I'd love to share about disabilities or what I'm advocating for. Also, as well as you can follow our Nafanua leadership page, which I said earlier, but I too also have my own social media account. I have an Instagram account. You can catch me at savanah.samaseia, so SAVANAH.Samaseia, SAMASEIA. Samaseia. And on there, you'll see my picture. You'll see I have the first runner-up for Toss All America, advocating for disabilities. It says ADHD and learning disabilities on there on the bio, so you know it's me, and my page is public. But that is where I'm going to be voicing and advocating for on that page. Hopefully I'll be able to move to Facebook soon. Right now we're just starting with Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'd love to reach out to a global audience through TikTok and Facebook, because I know all the Samoans use Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting there. Yeah. But you can follow my public page on there, and that's where, if you want to DM me, you totally can. And that's where I'm filming everything, all the content here on island, and then when we get home, I'm going to be uploading, but hopefully throughout the trip, I'll be uploading some things as well. But that's where I'm going to start voicing and advocating and building everything on a more open and public scale. So I'd love to share my story on there. I'd love to share everyone else's if you'd like to, and I'd love to hear yours or what you struggle with, and I want to create a safe space, whether it's on the internet or hopefully one day meet in person. But that's my goal, is to create safe spaces for families or individuals to share and be proud of what they have, to be proud of who they are, and to know that it's safe to share and no judgment whatsoever. But
right. Thank you for that. That's so great. So you can follow Savanah there. And to our audience, thank you for listening in. And as I was saying a little earlier, this is your chance to take action. I'm sure everyone out there knows somebody with a disability, or even if you don't know, I think it's important for you to learn a little bit more on your own. And and so already you've taken a step just by listening to this podcast, and we thank you for that. So again, from my end at the Pacific Center in Human Security, follow us on Facebook. Learn more about what we do on pchs.amsamoa.edu. And take care. Thank you, American Samoa.